Shalom, shalom. All right, before I get started, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, safety to the elect, all over the four corners of the earth. Shalom. It's your brother Ribe Month out the Atlanta church. And another lesson, this is Psalms 1. Psalms 1 and 1, it says, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of scornful, seat of scornful." So, blessed is the man that walketh that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Right? We don't. You don't want to be in the counsel or take counsel of the ungodly, because they are wicked, right? They're sinners, right? And we know the end of that is what? Death, right? They will not get the reward of the righteous because they are the wicked. So you don't want to be among that crowd. There's a separation that is going on through the spirit, and the Lord is separating the 2/3 from the 1/3. You can read on the 2/3 and the 1/3. So there's a separation, right? And the Lord is only dealing with the elect, right? So the 1/3, right? So you don't want to be among the 2/3 and the wicked, right? You don't want to be definitely not the other nations, okay? You want to be among who? The righteous. Because being among the righteous, what? That you setting yourself up for what? Salvation, man. Judgment is coming. The Lord is coming back, and he's going to bring that judgment, right? And you want to be on the right side of the judgment, okay, when Yahweh Shai come, man, okay? With the angels and the chariots, man, you want to, with that, those missiles go off, you want to be delivered, okay? You don't want to be burnt to a crisp, because this is exactly what you're going to die. And, if you're not of the elect, the righteous, and if you're of the wicked, then you're gonna perish, man. Okay, you're gonna be destroyed. Okay, and the Lord can destroy you so many ways, man. Okay, and you don't want to be, on that side, right? So it says, "Nor standeth in the way of sinners." See, it says, "Nor sitteth in the seat." So nor standeth in the seat of the scornful. It says, "But his delight is in the law of the Lord Yahweh, and in the law doeth he meditate day and night." That's what the righteous, okay? The man that is blessed, the righteous, he's gonna do what? Delight in the law of Yahweh by Shema Shai. You see, he gonna meditate on righteousness, day and night. Okay. That's who the Lord is going to deal with. That's who the Lord is going to deal with. And that's the spirit that you want to be in this truth. Okay. You in this truth serving Yahweh by Shema Shai. Okay. Standing up for this truth. Guess what? Well, this the spirit that you have to be in right here then. Okay. Meditating day and night. Because when you're doing that, you're not leaving any room for Satan to come in. Okay. And attack. Okay. On your spirit. Because you meditating in the spirit in righteousness. Okay. You understand? So that's the importance of staying within this thing, man. Okay. Now, if things gonna happen, well, of course you're gonna have to get tried. Okay. But when you get tried, guess what? If you in the right spirit, the Lord gonna help you to get through that, and you're gonna look back on that, and then he gonna set another bigger task, and because you can handle it, but you got to be in the right spirit. Can't get tripped up on level 1 when we got 10 levels to go, and you get tripped up on level 1. You see, it says, verse 3, it says, "And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water." See that? You want to be as this tree that is planted by the rivers of water, right? Why? That bringeth forth his fruit in his season. Because you want to be bringing forth fruit. You want to get everything that you need for us the nourishment. A tree, like, it need the good soil. The pH of the soil have to be right. Okay, then it's planted by the waters. So guess what? It always have that water source that it need. So we need the spirit. We need to be the same way. We got to be rooted and grounded in Yahweh Shema Shai, right? The correct way. You understand? The verse ahead told us to be meditate day and night. You see that? So this is how we want to be in order to bring forth that good fruit, man. It says, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, the spirit that bringeth forth his fruit in his season, right? You don't want to let your season pass. Okay, you don't want to not bring forth fruit when it's time for you to bloom. And just say with certain trees, they start to, you know, they lose their leaves in the wintertime, right? You know, then here it is, springtime. Oh, they sprouting out, you know, and then here it is, you know, then they putting off, you know, the pollen and all this and that. And then next thing you know, summertime, they don't put out what they needed to do. They don't produce what they needed to produce. We want to be like that in the spirit. See, when we serving Yahweh Shema Shai, we want to be able to be like that in the spirit. We want to be able to put out when it's time to put out, man. We want to be able to carry ourselves in the spirit, you know, every day. It says, his leaves also shall not wither. See that? And then leaf shall not wither. It says, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. That's how we want to be. Everything that we do, we want to prosper in it. Okay? Because Yahweh Shema Shai is with us in the spirit. So we want to be able to prosper, but you have to have that right teaching. You have to be rooted and grounded. Okay, you have to be planted by the waters. You got to stay within the spirit. Okay, you got to stay within these scriptures. Okay, because wisdom and knowledge, we need that. It shall be what? The stability. All right, that we're gonna need. You know, when Jacob's trouble is at its peak. Okay, when things get turned up, when it's time for you to refuse to chip, you need to have all the spirit that you have to have working, okay, for the righteous benefits of Yahweh Shema. You need everything clicking at that time, okay? You don't want to go within that, you know, and you facing that chip and not have your cylinders. You got a couple of cylinders that's not firing and functioning properly. You know, you don't want to be that way, man. Cylinders like in an engine, you know, referring to an engine, you have like a V8, you have 8 cylinders. You want all 8 cylinders, you know, firing and clicking and working properly, okay? You know, so you want to have your spirit tight, you know, in good when it's time to make those choices. It says the ungodly are not so though, but the ungodly is not that way. They're not going to be locked in, right? It says, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. No stability, nowhere. No roots, nowhere. You understand? Easily driven away. It said like the chaff. You don't want to be that way. You see that? You want to be like those trees that's rooted, you know, and them roots have went deep into the ground. And guess what? That tree, it'll just bend, it'll wave back and forth. But guess what? It doesn't break, it doesn't uproot, okay? It doesn't die, it doesn't start losing branches, and it's always producing, you see? That's the way we have to be in this truth, okay? So I think it's just like one more. Let's read verse 5. It's only 2 more verses. It says, therefore, the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment. See? And there it is. This is the goal that we're trying to reach right here. It says, therefore, the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment. See that? The wicked and the sinners is not going to stand. It says, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. See that? The sinners is not going to stand. The ungodly is not going to stand. Right? But guess who? The righteous. And that's the side you want to be on. We all want to be on that side, right? So we should do the things right according to Yahweh Shema Shai and keep building, keep going. Verse 6, it says, for the Lord Yahweh knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. That's it, man. You see that? It's all about the righteous. You see? Choose the righteous path, man, that righteous way, okay? And that brings life. That brings victory. When Yahweh Shai come, we want to be on that right side, okay? You know, because that's life and that's deliverance, okay? And then we move on to building, okay, the kingdom, man. But that was the main point on that. So with that, I pray this will edify. Like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Shema Shai, by Shema Kakwadash, double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, safety to the elect. Shalom.